Welcome to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast with your host, Hanna Hermanson, bringing you real-life stories of people who realized their dreams to educate and inspire you to create your legacy of abundance now.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Hanna, and today I am hanging out with the amazing Jennie Yang. Jennie is a leadership coach and facilitator who helps unlock the potential of individuals, teams, and organizations. Certified as a master practitioner of transformational neuro-linguistic programming, which we will call tNLP from here on out, Jennie runs her own coaching business to serve women in leadership roles. So by integrating meditation, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and tNLP, she helps her clients shift their inner experience and discover their joy of being. She also leads the customer success team at 15Five, which is an employee engagement and performance company focused on helping employees become their greatest selves. Welcome, Jennie.
Hi, Hanna. Such a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you, and I always love to ask, where in the world are you coming to us from today?
I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area.
That's right, and we actually met in real life not too long ago. So it's great to have you on the show. I'm really excited to dive into pieces of your story and your expertise, specifically, around the fact that you haven't always been talking about emotional intelligence and mindfulness. So can you tell us a little bit about where you were at before these opportunities to start, transforming brains and lifestyles, where you were at?
Yes, absolutely. So, what a journey, right? Life. So, sharing a bit of my story, I've always been a self-help nerd ever since that first book my friend gifted me in high school called There Is Nothing Wrong with You. And as I embarked on my professional journey, right out of college, starting in Washington, D.C., whenever I was out on the road for work, I would gift myself professional development books and personal development books when I was in airports and really developed a passion for my own development and growth. And so having always had ingrained a growth mindset, I immediately latched onto these concepts of mindfulness as well as emotional intelligence to help with not only my professional development, but also my personal growth.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so did you step right into being a life coach, spiritual healer right out of school, or did you take other paths in the corporate world?
Oh, definitely took many paths. It's a past life, I gotta say already. So in terms of how I started my career, right after I graduated from undergrad in Atlanta, Georgia at Emory, I moved up to Washington, D.C. This was during the economic downturn in 2008. And it was really challenging at the time to land a full-time role. So I actually started out as an intern in the public relations field and segued into healthcare consulting and started my career in healthcare consulting in Washington, D.C. at a couple of healthcare management companies, including Deloitte and the advisory board. And really, it was an incredible place to start my career surrounded by so many young professionals. And right after, spending 5 years in that field, I reflected, I would love to really understand who I am when I'm my best self. There was a turning point where I realized I didn't want to be a consultant forever at a management consulting firm. Okay. So I did a lot of self-reflection. What are my passions? And at the time it was big data. I was a big data nerd and technology. And where was that? That was in San Francisco Bay Area. So that's when it sparked my interest in moving out to the West Coast, which I consider the best coast.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
And landed my first role at a tech company and landed my first customer success role. So that was almost 5 years ago, and my career has evolved since then. Really starting out in tech customer success for a few years, and then moving into leadership roles. Most recently, before 15.5, was in a business operations leadership role. And that's when I really started to realize too that I wanted to get out of healthcare because of just this deep desire to help people flourish and meet their potential. And so starting to realize that my growth edges was really around my own passion of leadership development, personal and professional development. And even though healthcare is such an incredibly honorable field, I just felt this calling to leave. And so I took this leap of faith and quit my job last July and started on this sabbatical, this inner journey to really dive deep into who I am, what are my core values, and that allowed me to unfold to what I consider to be my dream roles, not only as a leadership coach, as a side hustle, but also working for this company, 15.5, that enables people to be their greatest selves at work.
So
and
incredible.
In life.
Yeah, right. And, a common theme that I hear in the show and folks that I work with is this need to take a leap of faith at some point in the journey. And so I'm curious what that was like, that experience of saying, okay, I know this isn't right, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to come next. And how did you navigate that sabbatical or that transition?
Great question. I was scared shitless. On the record, I can't tell you, how much fear was evoked. The fact that I had built a 9-year career path in healthcare, consulting, management, and tech. And the fact that I just wanted to shut that door and begin again was so scary. It took me a while to really make that firm decision. It took at least a few months to take a stand and just realize that I needed to put myself first, and that meaning to close the door to a profession that had served me well, but really to create the space for whatever is next, whatever my purpose is, to unfold.
Create the space. It's so powerful. I love that, because so many of us can negotiate or convince ourselves that, no, working on this team is meaningful. And, I'm just fine. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And so I love that you let yourself be uncomfortable for a few months.
Mm-hmm. And really, to be quite candid, I was uncomfortable for most of those 9 years. I would often reflect every 6 months, being like, okay, what's next? What's the next step? What's the next company? What's the next role? And it just wasn't necessarily, roles or the field that really lit me up. One of the greatest key takeaways and life skill sets that I, commend those 9 years for was allowing me to step into my zone of genius of being able to build deep, trusted relationships with others, being client-facing and working with customer success. And however, it just wasn't in the right field.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so stepping out of that field, you realized, okay, I've been reflecting. I do have this common theme of personal development, the self-help books that you were accustomed to reading for so long. So talk to us a little bit about this transformational neuro-linguistic programming, tNLP, and how you came to become a master practitioner in that.
Thank you for asking. tNLP has a warm place in my heart. So this was nearly a year ago when I had heard some buzz about tNLP through some of my friends here in the Bay Area. I'm part of this community called Consciousness Hacking, San Francisco.
That is so San Francisco. I love it.
Exactly. And what it is, it's a tNLP rather, is the study of the structure of the human experience. So that said, about a year ago, I went to a free workshop held in Marin. The school that I studied with is called NLP Marin. And I was floored by the 3-hour workshop and the demo of this work, because really what it is a blend of neuroscience plus language plus the way we as humans experience life, and a beautiful therapeutic modality in exploring what it is that we would like, what's our desired state, and what's holding us back from getting there. So the work I have been part of the school of was not only their core program, but also their master's program. So that took on from a span of June through March, where I was learning the toolkit of Neuro-Linguistic programming, tNLP, but also was getting the work done on me by my classmates. So there was so much transformation that occurred from being immersed in that classroom setting. And it was not an easy road. It can bring up a lot of deeply rooted programming, as we call it, from our conditioning from society, as well as our family structures. And so a lot of memories from childhood were brought back up. But the beauty of it was that the work of tNLP is a frame to bring resources to those childhood states, and to be able to allow us to recognize, hey, this is the fear that's coming up, and integrating that into our current states, but also future states, so that allowing an integration of it does enable us to get us to a point of achieving what we want.
Okay. I'm loving this. And I would love to just dive into what it really looks like. And for those of us who aren't in the master's program or going through the school of tNLP, are there ways that we can access these tools on our own?
Absolutely. So I do, again, highly recommend looking up NLP Marin, MARIN. And the other resource I recommend is Carl Buchet's book called Transformational NLP. He is the leader of NLP Marin, and he also essentially created this modality, tNLP. So there are great nuggets on not only the history, but also different frameworks that you can use in your own practice.
Amazing. And so what might it look like, or could you even give an example working with a client or with a student that you allow them to start practicing this or tapping into some of those histories that you mentioned? What does it look like? Definitely.
So let's say that we are going through a client or coaching session right now. And what I would work with you on, Hanna, is getting an understanding of what your present and current state is. So what's going on for you, and really doing an exploration of what's going on and bumping that against what you would like. So oftentimes, spending a bulk of the session really diving into, hey, Hanna, what is it that you would like? What is your vision for the future? And diving a little bit deeper, and what will having that do for you? And just essentially getting you to a place where, well, not even getting you, but it's allowing you to explore what you would like, and recognizing that there's already resources, that it is achievable within your own system. And if you're really having a challenging time even getting to what it is that you would like, then that's when we start to do an exploration of what's holding you back. So there are specific tools that I have that allow me to do a bit of a search back into your history. What was the earliest imprint or time where you experienced this anxiety, or if you experience this nervousness that's holding you back to what you would like. And so, when we explore there, it's a matter of adding resources to that imprint and being able to, grow that being up, that childlike experience back up to the present and into the future, and anchoring, those resources as you step into your future self.
Yeah, it's great. One of my mentors talks a lot about acting as if. And in order to act as if your dream life is your real life, or you're a millionaire, or you're happily married, or whatever your goals are, you need to know what your goals are. And so I love how intricate this process is. And first, how do you want it to be? How do you want to feel? And then using what sounds like, scientific tools to kind of rewire the brain in ways that we can change our state, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly it. And to your point, there's so many aspects to ourselves. There's so many parts of us, and with every single part of us that has a different desire or, a different fear, there's intention behind it. There's a positive intent behind every single part of us. And so it's just a matter of allowing that part of us to show itself and to state, hey, what are you keeping me safe from? Or, what is your intention? And having a conversation with that part of ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like we could, it sounds extremely intricate. And I know that we could, dive into this and dissect it even more. And so I'm so glad you offered those resources. And we're definitely going to give folks a chance to connect with you, because this seems like something you do want a master practitioner kind of holding your hand through as you allow yourself to open up to your current state and your future states. Really incredible work.
Yeah, I like to joke that my consulting days primed me to become a coach because of the whole modeling of really assessing the current state, outlining the future state, and what's the gap? How do we get you from gap to goal? So
yeah, this really feels like a next level goal setting tool.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And what's so neat about it too, it's that we are inundated as humans right now with technology when we think about all the work that we do and all of these tools and apps that enable us to do our work. But when you think about humans as our own technology, oftentimes we're outdated. We need to update our own programming.
And now there's an app for that. And it's tNLP, and it even has an acronym.
Exactly.
Well, speaking to that comment you just made about, my days in consulting and operations is really supporting the dream roles that you have now. I like to shift gears a little bit. And I think people listening to this podcast are going to be really curious how you have become, a master in tNLP. You have manifested and stepped into a really dreamy role in a 9-to-5 corporate type setting, and you're building a business. So talk to us a little bit about what your real life looks like right now and how you balance all of these aspects of yourself.
That's a great question. Balance is completely a key value in my life. And so right now it's just figuring it out, because I'm currently going through relatively large transition, onboarding into this new role at 15.5, meanwhile maintaining my business on the side, and also, keeping my coaching toolkit, up to date, and maintaining my client relationships. And so to that end, really what my current state looks like is coming into the 15.5 office in San Francisco, Monday through Friday. It is the most incredible culture I could have ever asked for. And I realized that the culture, I would like and now am in is one of psychological safety, is one where employees operate in their zone of genius. They are using their strengths every day. They are open. They are able to shout out their ideas and be heard. And so that's what I come to every day. And also being everyone showing up as their full selves as well, their whole self. So that is just to paint a picture of the environment that I have immersed myself in, which was a dream and now is reality. And I feel very grateful and lucky to have this, because having been in such cutthroat environments in the past, it's just such a breath of fresh air. And so that's what the day looks like. And so in the evening and weekends, that's when I, maintain not only myself, I consider myself the spiritual CEO of my life. And so any activity or person that is in my life is an extension of my spiritual CEO-ness. And so 15-5 is an extension of my spiritual CEO. My company, coaching company, is an extension of my spiritual CEO-ness, as well as self-care, all of the relationships in my life. And so those evening and weekends are primarily dedicated to, my own spiritual growth, personal growth, to the other relationships in my life with my partner, Josh, with other close friends, my family, and also different events to meet others who are in this field, and also carving out that time for clients and being able to build any creative workshop that I would like to, share with the world. So I think another part of that balance piece, as I mentioned, is the self-care aspect and self-love, and really being able to honor that space that I need to recharge and reset my mind and body, and to be able to show up as my best whole self on a daily basis.
Yeah, be the CEO of your entire life, listeners. I adore that visualization, that just like when we're operating tasks for our job or for our company or for our family, every piece of your life is an extension of you as an empire, as a corporation. And if there are aspects of your life, like the work environment you're in or the relationship that you're in, you have to be willing to make decisions that are in alignment to, your spiritual, you as a spiritual being. And I think a lot of people listening to this will resonate with, like, I'm a spiritual being and I'm a CEO and I'm a go-getter. And I love thinking about that. The decisions that we make and the schedules that we hold are completely within our, ownership, and we can make decisions once we know our mission, right? And we have that core of my self-care and my spiritual journey. For you, Jennie, those are the things that seem like are the center or the mission that you're on.
Yes, absolutely. And my mission is really, not only helping women, but, any person that comes into my life who is ready for it, to unlock their potential and to allow them to unfold their joy. I think really, we are granted this one lifetime right now, here in the present moment. And so how do we activate our innate true nature of joy and being? And so that's really the mission that I'm on, and I hope to inspire in others.
Yeah. And what I love about what you're doing, we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and you are an entrepreneur, yet you still are working 9 to 5. And what you just said made me think about the ability that every person at every level of working or living or pursuing a passion has to impact the people around them. I so often, and I do this in my own life, where it's like, I need to impact my clients, and the people who are paying me are the people I pour into. And then I was just at the coffee shop today, truly, and a woman was sitting next to me, and I just started asking her, what are you working on? She's there often. And so I finally decided, kind of like what you said, if this coffee house is part of my life experience. I want this person who's just within my vicinity to be feeling like, yeah, I'm interested, and I can't remember quite how you phrased it, but bringing them into the feelings that I want to have and the world that I want to experience. And so starting just a conversation with the people on the street or in the coffee shop can be advancing your mission and your work as a CEO.
Absolutely. And you totally bring up a great point in that human experience of feeling. It's such a unique privilege to not only be a human, but to also feel and have emotions. And so something else that I have worked on, not only through my mindfulness practice, but also meditation and emotional intelligence, is presence, which is such a key human skill and leadership skill, is to really tuning into presence, not only with yourself, but with others around you, because that is one of the greatest gifts that you can share with the world, is your own presence. When you're truly there in the moment, 110% with yourself or the other being.
Yes. And we have the opportunity to practice that anytime and anywhere. So great. I think that brings us to sort of our final few questions here. I always like to give guests a little pop quiz, but I'm an easy grader. So we've got just a couple of quick questions left for you. Great. And the first one, Jennie, I would love to know, and you might have spoken to this already, but what is one exercise or resource that listeners could tap into today to make their dream life a little bit closer to their real life?
Yes, absolutely. So what I would like you to do is close your eyes and just pull up a picture of that dream life. And when you have that picture of your dream life up, actually turn it into a video and just notice what you're experiencing. Notice who else is there. Notice what's in the background. What's the environment? What's the inner experience? And also just notice what you're saying to yourself. What are you thinking? And once you actually take note of that in that video, step into that future version of you. Step into that dream life and breathe with those lungs. Breathe with the heart and putting your heart where that future version of yourself's heart is. And really just soak in that dream, soak in that glory, and notice what that's like. And once you've had a moment to soak that all in, just take a step out of there and open up your eyes.
Woo! That is some powerful quantum physics we just practiced. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a quick visualization exercise that you can just load up any time of the day that you are inspired to.
Any time of the day. Like we said, these are practices that you have at your fingertips within you all the time. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So my second question, you touched on a couple of books and a couple of schools already, but are there resources other than that exercise that you just shared, but like resources listeners always love, tangible things they can pick up and read, or websites they can go to help them on their transformational neuro-linguistic programming path, or just, their path to improving their life?
Yes. So NLPmarin.com and Transformational NLP.
And I just have a quick question. The Marin School, is that online? Could folks who aren't in the Bay Area access that school?
That's a great question. So yes, there are people who do fly in to Marin for the trainings, and they have virtual options as well.
Amazing. Great to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. But the Transformational NLP book is on Amazon.com. And I would also have to say, another book that I have been tapping into for my own spiritual journey is Gene Keys. It is a methodology that blends the ancient Chinese wisdom of the I Ching with genetic DNA. And so I'll leave it at that as an offering. And it's just something that I just started to tap into. So I'm really excited to go on that path.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll make sure that we have some information about those things you just mentioned on the show page at the end. But my last question, you're doing great so far. You got a solid A going on this pop quiz. The last question is, where can we stay connected with you and learn more about the work you're doing?
Absolutely. So you can stay connected with me by visiting my website, www.jenniemaeyang.com. That's JennieMaeyang. And also my email is the same, jenniemaeyang@gmail.com. I also have all of the social media handles at Jennie May Yang. So that's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. I'm Jennie Yang on LinkedIn.
Jennie May Yang. That's so catchy. And again, we'll make sure that there is an opportunity for folks who are listening to this online to access her handles and website, but I know a lot of you are listening in your earbuds in between dream life exercises for yourself. So thank you so much, Jennie. Do you have any other, final nuggets of wisdom or inspiration you would like to share with the audience today?
Yes, just a piece of encouragement I like to offer is that anything is possible when you shift your mindset and your heart set, your soul set. And it's really just a beautiful inner journey to truly understand who you are. So kudos to anyone who's embarked on that journey, and kudos to those who are beginning on their journey and those who have yet to begin. And so just the fact that you are really tuning into your dreams to become your real life, vice versa, kudos, huge. You are doing the work that the earth needs. So really appreciate your courage. And I so appreciate you, Hanna, inviting me on the podcast today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Jennie. I know you offered tons of great insight and just that exercise of literally taking that step into the dream and realizing how close it is. I know people listening in needed to hear something that you shared with us today. So thank you. And we will be back next week with another inspiring guest, helping you take a few more steps, maybe even growing your dream bigger now that Jennie has plopped us right into it with the power of our mindset. So thanks again, Jennie, and we will talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
You've been learning how to make your dream life your real life with Hanna Hermanson. To get the resources mentioned on today's show and to listen to past episodes, visit www.dreamlifeisreallife.com.